the prayer, the liturgy is all done by Ge'ez. መስቀል መልዕልተ ኩሉ ነገር ያድኅነነ እምጸር, meaning the cross is above all things. The cross is above all things and shall save us from all evil adversary. This is a song sang by Saint Yared in the 4th century. Today we gather together to remember that history, to remember why Ethiopians or Ethiopian Christians are so attached to the celebration of the cross, and why is it more than only, not just spiritually but traditionally, our clothes is the decoration of the cross. The clothing that our priests wear and what they hold in their hands is the cross. If you go in Ethiopian Christian homes, you will not, I guarantee you, you will not get out of that house without seeing a symbol of the cross. Even in our everyday life and aspect, we used that cross to embrace ourselves. If we see something that scares us, if we doubt something, we stop ourselves and embrace ourselves with the cross. That is the tradition of Ethiopian Christians. It has become more than just religion, but it has become traditional. Today, around the world, it is not only Christians that celebrate this celebration. It is Muslim brothers and Muslim sisters that celebrate this celebration together. But why? Because we don't have time to commemorate and to remember every single detail. Let's just remember part by part of two significant stories, two significant things that happened for us to gather here together. The first one starts back after the resurrection of our Lord Jesus Christ. When our Lord Jesus Christ resurrected, his enemies, the Pharisees that had sacrificed him or crucified him, decided to bury the cross. For 300 years, the cross was lost from the Christian world, from the Christian hearts. It was buried somewhere and gone for 300 years. After 300 years, Queen Helena, a woman named Queen Helena, the mother of King Constantine being the first Roman king, Roman emperor that made Christianity to be worshipped freely. His mother, Queen Helena, had a spiritual fervor inside of her because she was truly a Christian. Not just a Christian, a symbol, but truly a Christian in her heart. She made it her everyday dedication and mission to find the cross. She did not do it politically, though. She did not do it with tactics. First, she turned herself to God. She turned herself to faith. She prayed. She meditated. She fasted. She asked spiritual fathers to remember her in prayers because she is in a mission to find the cross that is buried. After much prayer, many months of fasting and many months of prayer and meditation, God heard her inner fervor, her inner passion to find the cross. God revealed to her in a revelational dream, telling her if she lit a bonfire, and followed that bonfire miraculously, it will lead her to the place the cross was buried for 300 years. So Queen Helena decided to organize a committee that will help her set that bonfire and help her find the cross. So as the revelational dream said to her, she decided to organize a committee, lit up a bonfire, and started following it. And September 16th, that bonfire that she followed with the committee or that she organized led her to the place where the cross was buried. After 300 years, specifically being in 320 AD. September 16th is the day, September 17th is the day that her committee started digging to get that cross. The reason we celebrate today, and then after 6 months, it is when I say September 17th, I'm speaking in Ethiopian calendar, in the Julian calendar. September 17th. the bonfire was lit, it was found where it is, and then after 6 months of digging, 6 months of the community digging, in March 10th of Ethiopian calendar, the cross was found, buried in thick trash. The reason we celebrate it today is because March is always in the Lent season, and our scholars of the church decided to celebrate it on September 17th, and because they didn't want to hold a feast during Lent season. The second significant history or significant thing or story that we have to know when we celebrate the cross today is what happened in the 15th century in Ethiopia. After Queen Elena found the cross, it was in Jerusalem since then, but it was decided by 4 different Christian countries to split the crosses in 4 ways and split it. Ethiopia was not fortunate enough to get it at that time, but in the 15th century, King David of Ethiopia, went to Egypt, and he was blessed to bring the left wing, or Gimare Meskel, the left wing of the cross to Ethiopia in the 15th century. The king that succeeded after him, King Yaakov, his 4th son, also saw another revelational dream like Queen Elena. Something that we have to realize, something that we have to learn from these kings and queens is how spiritual they were. They are political figures. They are leaders of a country, but they still have that spiritual fervor inside of them that passionately makes them grow, or passionately only think of the church at first. Always put the church first. So King Yaakov saw a dream, a revelational dream, telling him, meaning you shall put my cross upon a cross. Again, after seeing this dream, Yaakov did not go with his own thoughts and thinking. Just like Queen Elena, he decided to pray. He decided to meditate. He actually decided to go to monasteries to tell fathers of the monasteries to pray for him. For he is in a mission to find what the dream meant. This is the message that we are sending today. For every leaders of the world, put God first in your lives. Put your faith first in your life. Today we are not lucky. We are not lucky because we have leaders, instead of listening to monasteric words, listening to the words of God. Today we have governments that are demolishing monasteries, that are excommunicating church fathers. We commend that. We condemn that. Excuse me, I said we condemn that. Not commend, but condemn that. After much prayer, just like Queen Elena, and much dedication of prayer and fasting, he found out that the dream meant that God wanted the cross to be set in Ambagishan, a rural city a village called Ambagishan. The reason the revelational dream said, put my cross upon a cross, is because Ambagishan geographically looks like a cross. If you go to Ambagishan today, which a lot of tourists are going, a lot of Ethiopians, not only Ethiopians, but tourists around the world are going to see that place, Gishan Mariam. If you see it from a high mountain or a helicopter, you will see that Ambagishan is a symbol or a shape, geographically shaped like a cross. Put my cross upon a cross. God wanted that cross to be set upon that geographically set cross place, Ambagishan. Since then, since the 15th century is when we started celebrating passionately, and the celebration ignited that we have today. But the other message that we have for our brothers and sisters today is not only celebrate the Feast of the Cross symbolically by just dancing or just gathering together, wearing traditional clothes, dancing and eating. It is beyond that. It has a message that is in depth. It has a message that should transcend within our hearts. One message that we are sending today is the message that Christ said in Luke chapter 9, verse 23. Luke chapter 9, verse 23. He said, "He that shall want to come after me shall deny himself and daily follow me." Daily follow me. He who wants to follow me should deny himself first. Then daily, not sometimes, not yesterday or tomorrow or the next month, but daily follow me. From these words of Christ, we learn that the history of the cross is something that does not stop until Judgment Day. Every single day, the history of the cross continues. Every single day, the cross has a story to tell. What is the cross's message for us today? In every single era of history, the cross always condemns or commends people. Today, we commend those that are standing in peaceful, in love, in unity. But we condemn those that are wanting separation, that are teaching the false gospels of Christ, what Christ did not teach. Today, our church, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, stands in a significant era of history. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church shall stand together in unity and be the missionary of the world today. But unfortunately or sadly, that is not what we are seeing at this moment. That's why we will condemn that. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church in Ethiopia, America, around the world, we shall pray for unity. We shall make unity first. The message of the cross first, just like our kings and queens did. That is our message today. When we celebrate the history of the cross, let's ask ourselves, are we in the right part of history? Or are we on the wrong side of history? If we look at John chapter 19, verse 23, there's something that always amuses me when I see that part. In John 19, verse 23. Let's go back in history, or let's take ourselves spiritually to Jerusalem and remember what happened that Friday during the crucifixion of our Lord Jesus Christ. St. John wrote to us in John 19, verse 23, "But under the cross, there was his mother, Virgin Mary, Magdalene Mary, Cleophas' wife Mary, and of course St. John." Something that amuses me on that writing is there was thousands of people gathered in that place of crucifixion, in that place of the cross where Jesus Christ was crucified. But in the gospel, only 4 people were written. Why is that, we ask? Why is that? Wasn't there the soldiers? Wasn't there many boys and girls that were yelling, "Crucify him"? Or weren't there some people that were just standing with selfishness, carelessness, just watching? Why did St. John decide to only write those 4 people? It is because they were standing in the right side of history. They were standing in the right side of the words of God. Those 4 people were standing not because they were happy, but because they were in awe of the love that Christ showed the world. Today, when we gather to celebrate the cross, the Feast of the Cross, are we in the right path of history? Every priest, every deacon, every brother and sister shall ask that for himself. Are we in the right side of history? St. Paul said in 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 18, "The power of the cross, the story of the cross, for those that perish is foolishness. But for us that will be saved, it is the power of God." That is the message that should transcend in our hearts. May the blessing of our Lord and the light of the Holy Cross be with all of us.